Today we're talking about a psyop. Not just any psyop, one that you've maybe never considered is actually a psyop.
Protesters invade an Echo Park restaurant, even dump red paint on the sidewalk out front. It's at least the third time. All this because the owner decided to add meat and dairy to what was a vegan-only menu.
And recently, I've been positing this question. I know that there's a level of reality to this, obviously, because people are ethical and they're moral, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there is veganism. We're talking about veganism.
We get threatening phone calls. There's people following our trucks.
No, hey!
They're terrorizing our local farmers.
I made a lot of content around vegans. I made videos with the vegan teacher. She's a huge bitch, by the way.
I mean, hey, after all, I agree with you. We should always see the good side of people. For example, Hitler.
I tried to be as cordial as possible. Didn't work out for me. Seems like that doesn't work out, being nice to people. She's completely addicted to the internet. She obsesses over every single comment. She can't put her phone down. She posts so many times a day, and most of her posts are just responses to comments. This is her job, but it shouldn't be. She should be doing something else. This is a complete and total waste of human life. We have a lot to cover, so if you're a vegan, I recommend just commenting now, saying how much you hate me, that you're unsubbing, etc. But we're gonna be talking about some really interesting, fun stuff. And by the way, I do not hate vegans. I just don't like them. Just kidding. No, it's truly just a joke. I'm not one of those guys. But hospital admissions in England due to vitamin and mineral deficiencies seem to have surged in recent years, according to some very reliable headlines. This is an extremely reliable news source. This coincides with the rise of veganism in the West. I'm gonna call it Western veganism, is what I'm gonna call it, okay? Because not all veganism is created equal. Oreos and pasta are vegan. Let's be real, all right? Along with Western veganism, it is also important to talk about the fact that correlation does not mean causation. I learned that in, I think, fucking elementary school. Regardless, the correlations and just the negative press that vegans are constantly getting has sparked some concerns. It's like a trend. Is it a trend? Is there nutritional adequacy of plant-based and Dietheimers? No, I don't know. I really don't know. What about carnivore people who just eat meat? I know a guy who went on a carnivore diet and had a heart attack like 3 months later, and he wasn't even that old. He's still alive, fortunately, but I don't know anyone who went on a vegan diet and did anything except for just become a fucking raging bitch. No heart attacks, though. I'd rather have a friend that's an asshole than a friend that's dead. The point of this video is sort of granular, all right? It doesn't really make a lot. We're positing a psyop. Is veganism a psyop to make people weak and lame and defenseless, all right? Since they can't take our guns, they take away our meat.
It's disgusting.
How could you?
Oh.
50% facetious, by the way. We're positing. This is what these videos are all about. I halfway believe that promoting vegan influencers and the poorly planned diets that a lot of them peddle could be some kind of deliberate attempt to weaken people, or it's an unintended consequence of people just doing things for money, it seems like. I really don't know. Today we're talking about the vegan psyop, specifically Western vegan militant activist and freakazoids.
It's not personal. It's not about targeting a small versus a big business. It's about picking something that we can win, right, as we're working on.
Over the last decade, the vegan movement has witnessed a fairly significant escalation in the intensity and frequency of activism, or at least what is made visible to the public through social media, through sharing social media. The militant activism and militant veganism and the protection of animals, PETA, I mean, they started off, I'm pretty sure, as a terrorist cell. So, like, that's, bio, whatever it's called, yeah. And then there's a lot of vegan activists who have been very vocal for a very long time. Misanthropes.
Every day, 3 million animals are murdered in France.
Gustafsson thinks the attack on butcher Kasuna stall is absolutely justified. The fact that Kasuna is an organic butcher and cares about the welfare of the animals is irrelevant to him.
A good example of the activism that is at the forefront of people's minds would be the protests against Sage Regenerative Kitchen and Brewery in Los Angeles. Check this out.
Look at this. Vegan protesters took over a restaurant in Los Angeles after the owner announced she's adding meat and dairy products to her formerly vegan menu.
What a bitch. Just kidding. She shouldn't. That's crazy. It's very aggressive. There's a right way and then there's a wrong way for a lot of people. And sure, maybe it is ethical, but like at the end of the day, who cares? I mean, I do a little bit. I won't be around that long, so. And plus I interviewed Mr. Beast, so why should I care? I'm extremely wealthy and famous and powerful. This is sad, though. I feel bad for this kitchen. It is truly a testament to the insanity and the inability to be rational that some people have, in spite of their entire identity hinging on, I am perfectly rational. I only eat plant because living thing hurt when you cook. I am rational. That restaurant's decision to introduce meat and dairy to its menu caused controversy, and a mob of activists gathered outside the establishment to express their outrage. The vegans ride at 10 to noon because they're tired. They don't ride at dawn. Get it, guys? Get it? Us hunters rise at 4:30 a.m. and then don't shoot anything and then go to sleep and then sleep for the whole day because they have a terrible migraine because they woke up too early. That's what us hunters do. In June 2023, activists stormed the Sage restaurant and they threw fake blood, which just seems like, why would you even do this? What is that?
Dump red paint on the
paint.
sidewalk out front.
That's beet juice. That's blood of their plants.
That's blood of those who they worship.
That's a testament right there. That's so funny. At least they believe in something though, right? At least they have faith in something, but it's like meaningless and moot and small. Ooh, that's not fake blood. What is that? What are those? That's vegan blood right there. That's vegans like bloodletting, just, and it's like comes out like fucking dirty. What does that look like? Tomato soup? They fucking, it's savory, dude. It's really savory. Just. These incidents at this single restaurant in Los Angeles are not isolated, by the way. We talked about vegan booty being a terrible person. It happens a lot in Australia. Australia has a very strong vegan activist movement. They employ disruptive tactics. They chain themselves to vehicles at busy intersections. I feel like this is something that everyone goes through for a short period of time and then grows out of. Is that bad? That I feel like that's something they're going to grow out of. Whenever I see someone in my personal life, and by the way, have never been wrong. If you're not making money off the internet from being vegan, the level of discipline that is required, the level of self-motivation that is required is very difficult. And I'm talking like 1%er of 1%er of 1%er can actually do it. People who are very intelligent and deserve nothing but respect can do it in real life, off camera. If your friends watch Dominion and go down a rabbit hole, they'll be vegan. They'll be vegan for like 6 months top, maybe a year and a half, or maybe until they get out of college and then they're no longer part of a collective and then their minds will, you know what I'm saying? You guys have experienced it. I have like 5 friends who have done that exact same thing in just slightly different ways. And I love them, by the way, and they're very rational people. I'm not trying to shit on them. It's just, you know, it is important to admit certain things that feel important are just fads. They're just fads. It's nothing more than just wanting to feel a certain way at a certain time, and that just kind of helps you. By the way, the chaining in Melbourne, Australia resulted in 38 arrests and caused, you guessed it, significant disruptions in civilian traffic. The vegan soft, the tip of the vegan spear, the very flimsy spear, they frequently conduct raids on meatworks across multiple Australian states, and they demonstrate levels of organization and coordination previously unseen in the activist movement. Look at them. Oh my Lord, no evil can last forever. Yeah, everyone will die. Did you guys know that? This is a peaceful protest. It does look peaceful. See, these people look very peaceful. You know, this guy especially, like all these people, I'm sure I would get along with them until they start yapping and talking. And then I would just listen and I would still get along with them just fine because I'm a human being and I respect people. I'm not a shit starter on YouTube. I pose as, I pretend to be that, but like really though, it's mostly jokes. I really don't care that much. But also veganism is a psyop and everything you believe is not real and is a total lie. And there's like empirical evidence of it. There's not any empirical evidence. I meant to say empirical evidence. I just seem like an idiot now. So anyways, farmers in particular are feeling the vegan psyop more than ever.
Farming and meat organisations have met with counter-terrorism police in response to the growth of the movement. The National Pig Association tells this programme its members can't sleep, with activists allegedly turning up at farms and slaughterhouses at night.
I believe it is a psyop, by the way, to usher in lab-grown meat. I don't think that anyone would ever want to eat meat grown in a lab. And I think that a lot of people becoming really angry and vegan is a great way to force the average consumer to just do that, which there's nothing wrong with that. Average Joe Schmo, I feel like, should probably just eat meat. If you're completely detached from the process of life and death, and you've never like seen an animal or held an animal in your like you just grew up in, let's say, Philadelphia, for example, and you think non-ironically that meat comes from the grocery store, or at least you thought that until you were 25, then you have no right to consume living things, in my opinion. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you just don't have like a right to, you know, it's just purely a privilege, which you should be able to enjoy. I mean, you're a first world country, whatever, but it makes sense though. It makes sense. I feel like I'm schizo right now, dude. I feel bad for the schizophrenic people I just called out. Sorry about that, schizo friends. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of that at one point, pre-drum. Not really though, turns out something else. Anyways, farmers report feeling threatened by vegan activists who invade their land and disrupt their operations, which that happens a lot outside of America. It doesn't happen that much in America, it seems like.
That family in particular saw up to 300 of their chickens actually suffocate as a result of this farm invasion, and potential health impacts of the family feeling incredibly unsafe and intimidated on their own property.
The National Farmers Federation in Australia, for example, has criticized activist maps that expose factory farms. I mean, it is really militant in Australia.
We have a right to protest. It's an important right and a hard-fought one, but what are you trying to get at? What's the strategic aim here? You're trying to win hearts and minds to a cause. I'm a Melbourneian. I don't really think that happened yesterday. I think you had a lot of very grumpy commuters, a lot of people who couldn't catch a tram and couldn't get their decent coffee. And like, once you do that to a Melbourneian, you have lost us.
The implication is that if you give crazy, insane people who are willing to make lists and maps of locations of something that is as innocuous as just making food for the masses, if you give them the location of those things and they're willing to do insane shit like this and this, maybe that poses a risk for biosecurity. Or, you know, what if there was a large subset of people who thought you shouldn't drink water? And then the vegan activists, the water activists, the fucking spice activists, I don't know, what's some kind of water joke, made maps of all the reservoirs and water sources around America. That probably would be really scary. With that sentiment in mind, it's important to note as well, we've already talked about this in the vegan booty video, but the effectiveness and actual ethical implication of the militant activist tactics, it is a huge subject of debate, and it doesn't do any good. In my opinion, it makes me dislike people because it's irrational. Dr. Tyler Patus, this guy, a research fellow, I like to call them, a research fellow. He argues that such extreme methods as vandalism and intimidation may be counterproductive to the movement's goals. Hey man, no fucking shit. It's a diet that y'all are pretending has... He also says that this type of thing reinforces negative stereotypes and potentially alienates the average person, the public, from accepting or wanting to be a part of veganism. And yeah, you know what? It does. It absolutely does. I can tell you, Tyler, it definitely does. Given how pervasive meat eating is in the culture, and given the strong anti-vegan sentiment that I found both in the United States and here in Australia, I was hoping he was Australian. I think it's very easy for people to dismiss vegans as crazy, self-righteous social justice warriors that don't need to be taken seriously. This guy legitimately just encapsulated 85% of all vegans into one sentence and just destroyed them and splattered them all over the floor. 85% of them. Seriously, it's like a lot. It's a lot. That's what it is. It's not a diet. It's not about actually making change. It's just about virtue, feeling virtuous in a moment and just feeling like you're better than other people because you feel bad. And then you see something and you're like, well, if I help, that'll make me feel good. And then you feel good by making other people feel bad. And then eventually you forget and you start eating meat again because it's really delicious. Militant vegan activism makes people hate you and it's illegal. But a lot of people don't really give a shit and they continue to engage in civil disobedience, which that's the psyop part, I feel like, right? Like if you're giving people this thing, this vessel that they're probably not eating very healthy diets because they're spending all their time being disobedient. That's probably like, it's a lot of effort to be a vegan, like I assume, right? It's a ton of effort to be a whole foods vegan, a healthy vegan. seems like. You have to be built differently. Dominion, you've probably heard of that. Everyone's like, what's Dominion? What's Dominion? And it's just like a snuff film of factory farms, which is absolutely not representative of the farming. Generally speaking, it's just not. But the fella who directed that, Chris Delforce, says that people watching this type of stuff, it does cause them to be more directly active and more of an activist. Dominion, if you watch Dominion and that's what makes you a vegan, it's definitely a way to kind of, become more enraged. But a lot of people have never seen death or anything like that. A lot of people have never seen nature in any way. They're completely detached from reality in every single measurable way. It is crazy. And the condition of certain factory farms is really bad. I mean, that's objective. I don't think there's any way to kind of argue against that. But being a militant and arguing against it through that is it's like saying paint is green and stuff. If it's green paint, you're just like, that paint is green. And it's so green, and then you're like making people mad because you're screaming it at them, and they're like, yeah, I see it's green. What am I supposed to do about it? Scream that it's green as well? Because it looks kind of stupid when you do it. So I don't really want to do that. I just want to eat this hamburger. All the craziness aside, there has been a shift in the global food industry, all right? Meat consumption is still incredibly high and absolutely needs to be substantially lower. If you're a 365-pound Balkan man, and I'm not talking about bulking, like getting fit, but like Balkan, like you're Balkan. You're from like Herzegovina or something like that. Maybe lay off the meat a little bit. Your heart will thank you. Your heart will thank you. Vegans are, they're definitely right about the diet, for sure. They're absolutely correct about that. And it is impossible to argue with. It really is. Maybe you throw a steak in there 2 times a week, then it'd be even better. But it beats most other diets. Like, really it does. Just research it a small amount and look at the countries who eat it. They're very extremely healthy. For example, Okinawa. How about Okinawa? Certainly not vegans, but vegetarian, consumption of fish, sexual deviancy. I don't know, dude. Plant-based eating in general is growing more and more popular, which I think is pretty cool. In the UK, it has increased by 10% in the last year, which is great. Those are vegetarian options, vegan options across the board. A lot of these things seem guilt-free, harm-free, or whatever, but they're not. Anytime you're making anything, you're also killing shit. You have to like acknowledge that and just kind of recognize that that's just nature. You're a part of nature. You're not this amorphous blob that's omnipotent. You're a person. You shit. You poop out of your ass, and then you have a disgusting birth, and then you'll die. You'll just be bones and just you'll be worm food. Eventually worms will eat you. Isn't that weird? Or you'll get burnt or something, and then you just won't be a part of the nature anymore. Then you'll literally be an amorphous vase of ashes. I think the amplification of the consumption of plant-based food is not so much a result of the vegan movement, but more so media. People earnestly reading things and believing them. Like, for example, this article from The Guardian, The Unstoppable Rise of Veganism. Pretty good, or this one, The Plant-Based Revolution.
Every day we get out of bed and we ask ourselves, what should I eat? To be able to digest your food comfortably and efficiently is the essence of being a healthy human. They were very, very clear. A healthy diet consists of...
Dr. Alan Desmond, he's a plant-based gastroenterologist.
The author of the new book, The Plant-Based Diet Revolution.
He incorporates whole plant-based nutrition to treat your problems, not just the symptoms.
Pretty good. Or maybe a celebrity endorsement like Joaquin Phoenix, narrator of Dominion, or Billie Eilish, or Bianca, dude, with their plant-based advocacy in Heimers. People will be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try that. And a little bit's better than nothing, too, by the way. So it does work. But then you've got people pretending to be vegan, and then they're actually not. There's a lot of that, too. There's a lot of that. That is also an absolute reality. Vegans sneak shit. They sneak shit occasionally. As long as they're not doing it on their Instagram, their TikTok, or their YouTube, they're sneaking shit. Because it's not about, it's not a religion. You're not going to go to hell if you eat a sandwich. You're just going to feel sad. Aww. Since we've got the media and celebrities involved, that is another token in the PSYOP book. I'm just saying, people who are famous and get paid to say things and act and do things and perform and stuff, they're bought and sold, just like politicians. Politicians, if you got an old country boy who's been working as a fucking plumber, plumbing, just hating his job, hating his life, and he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go vegan because I've been feeling a little slow lately, and I'm gonna eat me some more cucumbers and maybe, you know, broccoli or something. You got a guy like that, and he starts talking about, hey, y'all, other plumbers and tradesmen and people who form the heart of America and not just a very loud minority on the internet and or famous people and or the 1% of 1%. Have y'all tried eating more broccoli and less meat? Makes you feel better. Or maybe exercising and then also consuming meat when you're exercising. That's never happened. If that happened, it would be more meaningful to me, but everything else seems like a psyop. Very vegan friendly. Is this Pinocchio? Are we Pinocchio? Are the vegans Pinocchio? Is there a Stromboli behind the scenes? Governments are also now promoting plant-based eating. Why? That's worrying a little bit. That's worrying a little bit to me. Ever since that ruined school lunches or whatever, I was homeschooled, so I didn't have to go through that shit. But honestly, I'm talking about my mom. She ruined my school lunches for sure. Sorry, Mom. Didn't mean to call you a bitch. I was talking about Michelle Obama. I also don't even know if she's I know nothing about Michelle Obama, so. I know more about my mom, and I didn't even mean that shit, so. So we've got subsidies for plant-based innovation, money from big ticket donors. We've got public awareness campaigns, the government's getting involved, school programs encouraging plant-based meals, institutional support for a plant-based diet, not specifically veganism, but a plant-based diet. It makes you wonder which side the psyop is coming from. Is it farmers? Are farmers? Is it like the incumbent sort of, we have a lot of animals and we have a lot of money in this, and man, you been screaming with that bullhorn talking about eating broccoli, oh country boy, you're gonna get your ass whooped. Is it a psyop from that side that's inadvertently paying money, Operation Northwood style, shooting down Cuban friendlies? Is it that? Is it, let's bolster the crazy vegan activists because they're all crazy and Oompaville will make a video about it? Or is it the government who wants people to be weak and docile, all right? Who wants people to be, and then after they take away our meat, they're going to take away our guns. Or is it just, a genuine change that is the antithesis of like Western consumerism? Because that also could be viewed as a psyop, but it's like more reasonable. Regardless, the media influence and the government backing has prompted a slight backlash from big meat. Meat producers have been criticizing what they believe is biased media coverage and unfair government policies that favor plant-based alternatives, which that does make sense because you can't make a vegan burger. Like you can't have I have a small farm in rural America where we make bean burgers and we sell them in mass enough to make a profit. No. It's gigantic companies and corporations who are creating the plant-based alternatives, generally speaking, right? Like, generally speaking, the ones that affect the most people. Whereas you got 4,000 acres in Texas, that's enough meat for every HEB in a 1,000-mile radius. It's very complicated. And there's a lot of moving pieces. And big meat's angry. Even KFC and McDonald's are introducing plant-based menu items. I think Burger King has had whatever it's called, you won't believe it, patty. What are they called? Amazing patties? It's some kind of stupid name. Impossible Burger, that's it. They've had that shit for years. I got one once and I was like, man, this is nasty. And then I ate a normal, and then I tried the Impossible Burger. I had a normal hamburger first. Man, this tastes like fake smoke. Why are they selling this shit? It's disgusting. Same with the Impossible Burger. It's just nasty. It's Burger King. Like, what do you expect? Oh, by the way, if you think eating a plant-based alternative from either one of those places is going to make any kind of difference ethically, you're dumb as fuck. Maybe in your health, potentially, but like if you think that's activism or a part of your activism, you are a dumbass, legitimately. Like, seriously. They don't care. They're just trying to get your money. Go to the Sage Regenerative Cafe or whatever the fuck it's called. Even though they sell meat too, don't throw blood, don't spew your fucking seed all over the floor there. Go and continue supporting them because they're actually going to be the ones to make a difference, not McDonald's and KFC. Colonel Sanders doesn't give a fuck. He's dead. He died. Was he ever real? Interesting. Yet again, the involvement of megacorps seems like it's part of a psyop as well. Like if you got McDonald, if you think McDonald cares, if you think Ronald McDonald cares about your movement, you are sorely mistaken. so sorely mistaken. Then you have the nutritional paradox, all right, in which a lot of this isn't true, but it is true for some people because some of the vegans that I know eat more unhealthy than I do, just with less meat. They eat more pasta and more Oreos because both of those things, I'm sure you've heard, are vegan. It's really difficult to eat healthy in general, especially as a vegan. It requires, like I said, an insane amount of discipline and just self-motivation, which people just don't have. Professor Camilla Hawthorne, chair of Royal College of GPs, whatever the that royal title is, expressed concern over the alarming rise of hospital admissions due to vitamin deficiencies. She noted, with some anecdotalness, all right, a near tenfold increase in admissions for patients with a diagnosis of iron deficiency and a fourfold increase in folate deficiencies, which is caused by a lack of nutrition in your diet. Not because you're not eating meat and not because you're only eating plants or not because you're eating meat. You can do all these things regardless. It just means you are not consuming nutritionally dense food, which is possible in any diet. But meat happens to be delicious, succulent, and quite nutritionally dense in iron and folate. So is spinach though. Spinach is ripe with folate, but folic acid, 5-MHTF, methyl, you need methionine, and you need an alternate form of folate. I forget what it is. B6? No, that's not it. What is it? Nope. It's like MHTF. I forget what they call it. Methylation of folate, methylation pathways. It's been a little while since I've read this stuff, and I've been on the coding bandwagon lately, so I'm just like, you know, variables. Methods, 50,000 if-thens, all right? 6,000 vertices in a toothbrush. The German Society for Nutrition also has taken a cautious stance in regard to veganism, stating that vegan diets are not recommended for certain vulnerable populations, including children, pregnant women, nursing women, and or adolescents due to the risk of nutritional deficiencies. Adolescents, they are growing. So, you know, they're going to become malnourished and insane. Their brains will rot and fall out of their heads if they don't eat the right food, you know, nutritionally dense food. So yeah, if you've got a nutritional organization saying, hey, maybe people who are, you know, really need to eat healthy, don't eat the vegan diet. They're not saying it because it's not healthy. They're saying it because it's realistically not something that people do when they are a vegan, is eat a healthy diet. And also, if you have to get shots of vitamin B because of your diet, I feel like that's pretty bad as well. Like, that seems bad. A study in the UK found that half of the vegans sampled were deficient in vitamin B12, which is extremely important. Let's see. Let's look at this. B12, this is funny. This is part of the PSYOP. Deficiency, mental symptoms, depression, anxiety, confusion, memory impairment, hallucinations, delusions, slow mentation, mania. Oh, wow. Holy shit, psychosis. It kind of makes sense, you know? Kind of weirdly makes sense. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's kind of lining up, you know? It's kind of lining up a little bit. Dr. Benton is another fellow whose research has directly correlated low levels of vitamin B12 in a person's blood with their IQ, which is really funny and sad because a lot of people, you know, B12, it's a worldwide issue. Unfortunately, people who don't have access to healthy food suffer from a lot of the same issues that people who do have access to healthy food but decide not to because they're stupid. So like you have probably another kind of unfortunate curve in IQ and malnourishment and just being forgotten by a system that doesn't care about you, because eventually you'll die and you won't care anymore, and then the system doesn't have to change. David Benton said, there are some tragic cases of children whose brains fail to develop because of their parents being ill-informed vegans. Oh my fucking God, dude. That is so horrible. In the elderly, one study found that the brains of those with lower B12 were 6 times more likely to be shrinking. Obviously, studies are fallible. A lot of studies are just nonsense, so take that with a grain of salt. But there's enough information here, definitely, to know to be careful. And if you are going to eat vegan, actually genuinely eat vegan, or just eat vegan most of the time and have like some kind of big salmon fillet once a month, once a week, something, a big steak once a week, just something a little bit extra. Be a Whole Foods vegan, eat your Oreos and your pasta too, but like 20%, and the other 80%, healthy shit, dude. Healthy shit. It's a nutritional paradox, a PSYOP, and it is not the ultimate dietary choice. Plus, you got a lot of ex-vegans who talk about a darker agenda that lends more so into the psyop. For example, this article that you have to pay for, and I'm not going to. Who's pushing the agenda? There's always an agenda. There's always a psyop, no matter what, especially when you're talking about consuming things and buying things. I don't think food was ever intended in nature to be a part of your value system. I really don't think it is. I don't think it's healthy. I think it's really stupid. All this stuff is really stupid. If you're a carnivore, I think you're an idiot. If you're a vegan, I think you're an idiot, or at least you're prone to idiocy, right? I don't think you're actually an idiot. I think those are just idiotic things to be staples of your life. Like, I only eat meat. If you also only eat meat, but occasionally you don't care and you like eat a sandwich or a salad or some candy or something, like that's cool. That's really chill. I like that. But it being a part of your value system and you're not actively involved in growing it or hunting it, then you're a fool. You're genuinely a fool. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're a total fool. You've been fooled. You've been duped. There's also the idea that veganism is linked to demonic forces as well.
Last days, the Holy Spirit says, people will depart from faith, so that's the foundation of everything. Then there will be deceiving spirits, and then there will be doctrines of demons. So kind of layer upon layer. Now, what we see is in verse 3 of that chapter, Paul begins to tell us some of these doctrines that these demons will be pushing on people in the last days. They will be forbidding to marry. They will command to abstain from foods which God created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth. Ouch. So forced vegetarianism and veganism is the mark of the last days.
Now, how does this look like? I don't know, sir. Tell us. Stop. I'll tell you. This all could be one big poop feast. I really have no idea, guys. But the response from all organizations, it seems like specifically organizations that are vegan by nature, add fuel to the fire. Some people are like, you know, we need to be careful, guys. We need to be careful. And then others are like, killing animals is wrong. And then some people are like, but killing animals is good and I need to make a lot of money from it. And then there's most of everyone who's ever existed ever. And they're just like, what'd you say? Sorry, I was just scrolling TikTok. You know, just hanging out with, just like spending time with my family, scrolling TikTok. So what do y'all think? PSYOP or nah? Comment down below. Thank you all for watching. If you guys want to see more content, go to my second channel, Oompa TV. Go to my third channel where I post devlogs making video game. I started learning C# in August. Well, I relearned C# in August. And started learning game dev in August and Unity in August, and you can follow my journey. There's currently no videos up, but maybe by the time this goes up, there will be. I don't know. Probably not, though. Also, go to sour.gg and buy some Sour Boys sour candy. We post a new flavor every week. Motherfucker. So go enjoy that shit. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.